What is up, everybody? I'm coming on here to discuss one of my favorite ways to be a winning sports bettor on Prizepicks in 2026, and it is using soccer correlation. And I'm going to, in today's video, explain what that means and the strategy behind how I actually find my soccer bets, okay? Now, first and foremost, a little bit about me. In 2024, I went up 600 units sports betting, a lot of this on this channel, and a lot of this on Prizepicks using the same strategies that I'm going to be discussing today. So that's going to be using soccer correlation, using esports, using football correlation. I mainly want to be focused on soccer today, but maybe I will make some videos, and I actually have made some videos in the past about esports and stuff. And then in 2025, guys, we go up 263 units, again, using a lot of this different soccer correlation and using other forms of correlation. Now, what is correlation and what am I talking about? It is when you take two players on the same team a lot of times to go over together or under together, okay? So, for example, we have these two guys, and these two guys are on the same team together, and I took them over together. Now, there's a specific reason in soccer why I like the overs rather than the unders, and it has to do with payouts, which I'll get to in today's video. But again, in soccer, I'm taking this guy who's a defender of the team, and I'm taking him over, and then the midfielder of the team, and I'm taking them over, right? Same thing here, right? These guys hit together because I take them over together. This guy gets 83 pass attempts. This guy gets 84 pass attempts, okay? And this is the correlation that I'm going to be targeting and that I have targeted over the past 2 years. Now, I truly think 2026 is the year of soccer correlation. Why? Because we have the World Cup going on in the next couple of months, all right? So get used to this strategy, really hone in this strategy as much as possible. And then when the World Cup comes around, you're going to be able to be an expert at this stuff by the time the World Cup does come around, okay? And then the second reason is that soccer is always going on, all right? So you'll see there's games happening in the next 40 minutes. There's games happening later this afternoon or later tonight at, 7. There's games happening tomorrow morning. There's games happening, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. There's always games happening in soccer. Why? Because it's the most widespread, well-known sport in the world. There's games happening in Europe, in America, in Australia, and even the Middle East. There's games happening, and there's just always games going on in soccer, which is amazing, right? That's actually a really important reason, or a really important part of a betting strategy. You want to be betting on things that are constantly happening, where you can be consistent day after day after day. For example, if you have a betting strategy over the Olympics, you're only going to be able to bet on that once every 4 years. So that's not really a betting strategy. That's just something that, you do every 4 years, right? But this is something you're going to be able to do day in and day out. Now, one thing that I forgot to preface, and this is very important about sports betting in general, is that we're not looking to hit every single entry, all right? There's no strategy that you'll ever find where you're going to hit every single entry, okay? That's just not going to happen, right? The sports books and betting is not like that. You're not going to hit every single time. But what we are looking to happen is we're looking for things to either go green together or red together. Now, here's an example of something going red together. Obviously, I'd rather them go green together so they hit, but this is an example of actually me taking the overs because I thought that maybe these guys would go over together, but they go way under together, right? This guy gets 17 pass attempts. So he gets, a very, very underperformed game by him. He literally goes less than half of his line. So the other guy that I took him with only gets 18 pass attempts, and they go under together. Why? Because this is how soccer works, right? Here's a very basic soccer formation. You have, these guys up here attacking, you have these guys in the midfield, and then you have these guys back here defending. Now, as we all know, if you've watched soccer at all before, you'll know that these guys are constantly passing back and forth, back and forth. So let's just say I bet on this guy to go over, and I bet on, let's just say, this guy to go over, for example. Now, what is going to happen in this game? If these guys get a lot of possession, so I'm going to use possession as P, and if they get a lot of P, a lot of possession, they're going to constantly be passing back and forth to each other, right? They're going to be passing here, then this guy back here, then this guy back here, right? And this is how you guys have probably watched soccer and seen soccer before, right? A lot of times the score is like 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. And a lot of times what happens in soccer is the whole 90 minutes is just people passing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So if you have a lot of possession, you're going to have two overs together, which is exactly what we want to see. Now, if possession is lower for this team, let's say we're betting on these two guys again. If possession is lower, you're going to see a lot less passes, all right? So the other team that's going to be, over here, or the guys, going and attacking this way, they're going to be the ones getting a lot of possession. So you would have actually wanted to bet on the other team, right? Whatever other team there is in this scenario here. But again, high possession means guys going over together, and low possession means guys going under together, which is exactly what we want to see. Now, another thing to preface is the different payouts on Prizepicks. All right. So you want to be taking 3-mans, you want to be taking 4-mans, or you want to be taking 5-mans. You never want to take 2-mans, and you actually can't even take 2-mans with the strategy, because Prizepicks is going to give you an error that says you need to take 2 players on opposite teams, or you can't take 2 players on the same team, which is what this strategy all revolves around, okay? But again, take 3-man powers, never take 3-man flexes. Pretty much anything in red here that you see, you don't want to take. So 3-man flexes, no. 2-man powers, no. If you want a video of me breaking down how to get the best possible 2-mans, I can do that. And it's going to be utilizing another app called Underdog Fantasy, which I'm sure you're probably familiar with if you've been in the DFS game. And it's because they give out better payouts than Prizepicks does. And I'll leave that to another video though. Okay, so let me show you guys an example of a slip that I'd actually be building out. Now, I did a little bit of research before, so I will preface this. There's a lot of lines on the board right now. So this is a strategy that it's not something that you can just very quickly do. Okay, this sometimes takes 15, 30 minutes sometimes to be researching this stuff properly. But if you can get this down, you can make a lot of money on sites like Prizepicks using this strategy. Okay, now let's go to these 2 guys. Right, you have Joshua Kimmich and you have Michael Oles. Let's go to Pick Finder, which is an app that I use sometimes, and it has a really good breakdown of these guys' different lines and what they've done over the past 10, 15 games, as I'm sure you guys have seen, different lines like this and different apps like this that have shown this. I think I do have a link down below where you guys can get signed up for Pick Finder. I recommend it. It's a great app. I honestly, I don't bet a lot on these last 10, 15 stuff, but it's a great app to use to see how these guys have performed over the past times, and I can compare these guys together. Okay, so what we want to compare is these guys going over together, under together, right? Because they are very paired up together, because they play a very similar position on the field. I can actually show you guys that Kimmich plays right here and Oles plays right here. Okay, so you guys will obviously see that they are the closest ones together on the field. We wouldn't really want to be betting on Oles and let's say like Latimer, because they're very, very far from each other. So they would not be passing to each other very much in this game. Kimmich would, and this guy would, right? Another example of that would maybe be like Taw and this guy, or Taw and this guy, or maybe this guy and this guy. So you want to find people that pair up very closely together, because those are the guys that are going to be pinging the ball back and forth. All right, now let's get into this. Kimmich goes over the first game versus Freiburg. Oles actually doesn't, which is kind of funny because this is the worst example I could have used. But it's because Oles actually didn't even start this game, right? I looked into this game. He only plays 34 minutes, as you'll see right here. So this isn't really a good example because he doesn't even play even more than half the game. But if we go to the second game, we have FC Uno. FC Uno, they go ahead and both go over together. So this guy gets 112, this guy gets 55, right? Bayer 04, this guy goes over as well. Atalanta, this guy goes over as well. And again, you're going to see this trend, right? When one guy goes over, the other guy goes over. When one guy goes under, the other guy goes under. Okay, so this Eintracht one is not actually correlated because this guy goes over and then this guy goes under. But if we go to this guy, TSG Hoffen, right? You'll see that this guy only gets 26 pass attempts and this guy only gets 67 pass attempts, which would have been under his line. And again, the reason why these guys go under together is because they probably did not have that much possession in this game. Okay, so another example of an under, if I can find one, would be Leipzig. Okay, so RB Leipzig that happened mid-January. This guy only gets 39 pass attempts, and this guy on Leipzig gets 27 pass attempts. So they go under together. So hopefully you guys are understanding what I'm talking about, right? If we look at just the next game they played back in January, you have Leipzig where they both go under, and then you have this team, Royal Union Saint. I've never even heard of this team, so it's obviously not a very good team because this guy gets 72 pass attempts, and then this guy gets 140 pass attempts, all right? So you can see the discrepancy game to game, right? 39, and he gets 140 the next game, and it's because they probably had like, I don't know, over 75% possession or something like that, and they just get so many passes in this game. So that is the main strategy, right? You want to find guys to go over together or under together, all right? Now, there's a reason why I take guys over together, and I'm going to use just some random MLB props, or let's actually just do some random NBA props. Again, these are not picks that I like. I'm just clicking random buttons, all right? I'm just going to click 2 random buttons here, okay? Now, you will see Now, with two overs, I'm getting a 9.75x, which is great. We like that. The max you can get is a 10x on Prizepicks, unless you use like a green goblin or a red demon or whatever it is. But 9.75x is very, very good, especially with this two form of correlation right here. Okay, that's extremely good, and that's what we want to see long term. I like, my rule of thumb is I want to get as close to a 10x or really a 9x or higher as much as I can. Now, if I take two unders instead of the overs, and this can be true with every single team out there, you'll see that the correlation drops and the payout drops all the way down to 8.25x, which is not something I like to see. All right, so I want to try to get as much payout as possible. 9.75x, that should be pretty a no-brainer, right? You want to get as much payout as possible, okay? So that is why I favor the overs. It's just because of Prizepicks' payout. Now, if this all paid 9.75x, then yes, I would be looking to take some unders as well. I would say, look, they're playing against a really hard team. I'm going to take the unders here. But normally, I do look for two overs to be pairing up together. If I don't like the overs, then I just move on to the next game. And that's the beauty of soccer, is there's games going on. Look at all these games starting in the next 30 minutes. There's games starting at 7 p.m. So if you don't like the play, if you don't like the overs for two guys, then go ahead and just move on to the next game. Now, one very small detail, which is a little bit of a hack for you guys here, is that actually if you take the goalkeeper, okay, so the goalkeeper is not very correlated, he's not really integrated in the game very much, but if you do ever really want to take the under, let's say you really like the under for these two guys, again, I did not research this, so don't take this play, but let's say you want to take the two unders on these two guys, the goalkeeper will not give you a payout shift ever, okay? So goalkeeper, you can actually use that as an under, and you can kind of be like, goalkeeper, I'm going to use you, and then I'm going to use like another guy on this team, and I'm going to take the two unders together, right? So you'll see that both of these guys are on the same team, for example. This is happening tomorrow afternoon, and again, you can just utilize this as well, right? You have this game happening tomorrow, maybe these two unders would go well together, for example. Another thing to add is that there's a reason why I like to take guys that games are starting in the next hour, okay? So, for example, Bayern Munich starting in the next 30 minutes. If we look on Google and we look at this game happening, you will see that the lineups are already out. So I already told you guys, Kimmich and Oles, they're right next to each other. So this is a really, really good bet, because I'm like, you can actually see what the coach put down as his formation. You have Kimmich here in a very centralized location, and you have Oles here, so they should be getting a lot of passes to each other. Now, if we look at a game that's actually happening today at 7 p.m., so it's happening later today, right now it's 1:30 for me, at 7 p.m., the lineup is not out. Okay, so the lineup, it says lineups will be posted before the match. What that means is this lineup will be coming out at 6 p.m. So the lineups always come out an hour before the game starts. So I would either, if you're gonna utilize the strategy, I would look for games starting in the next hour, or I would look for games starting like a day from now or a day or two from now, because you can get some really, really soft lines a day from now or a day or two from now. Okay. And what I mean by that is, let's say you really liked this guy over 21.5, for example. His line by game time might be like 27 or 28, which would be a really good bet, because when the lines come out, they're a lot softer normally than when they are like right when game time is happening. But this is new information, right? This is new information that the market got, and the market did not adjust to it yet, that Kimmich and Oles are playing right next to each other. Or for example, if this line just came out, or this lineup just came out, and let's say you wanted to bet on Rudiger and let's just say Rudiger and Valverde, right? And you wanted to bet on these two guys, but maybe you thought that Valverde was going to be playing right here, right in the middle. So you're like, I liked him as a very centralized location, center mid. But now that he's playing on the left side or the right side, whatever this is, maybe the left side. Now that he's playing all the way here on the left side, I don't like it as much, because now he's playing not in a centralized location where he's going to be doing all these passes all the time. So this information is very vital, and you only get this an hour before game time, okay? So that is the strategy, guys. It is using two soccer players and taking them over together. And hopefully you guys learned something in today's video. I tried to give you guys as much information, as much knowledge and tips and tricks as I possibly know about this stuff, because it can get very deep very quickly. Now, I told you guys that this strategy, it's great, but it can take time, all right? This is not something where you can just go look at a sheet, go look at some app, and you can be like, boom, here's my picks of the day, and I'm going to just fire off like 10 bets today. This is something that will take you multiple hours every single day if you utilize this strategy correctly. That is why I highly recommend just taking my picks, tailing my picks, right? Because I showed you guys that I am profitable long-term. you can get all my picks for 2 months free by just signing up for Sleeper. All right, Sleeper will give you a free $20 entry. My code is paid. Sign up for Sleeper with code paid. Deposit $10. Take a $1 play or more, and then text me proof to my number right here on the screen, and I will get you guys 2 months free of the VIP, no questions asked. All right, so you guys can utilize this strategy for the next 2 months. I'm going to be sending out a ton of soccer plays. It's going to be a really, really big part of our strategy, using correlation with soccer, using correlation with esports, and then even using correlation with things like the UFL or Canadian football that's coming up in the next couple of months. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's a strategy we use all football season, using quarterbacks and receivers to go over together, right? So the more that a quarterback throws, the more receiver gets catches. The less that the quarterback throws, the less a receiver gets catches. So that's another great form of correlation. If you guys already have Sleeper, which I get quite a lot, Sleeper is a decently big app at this point. I will also be leaving down below a link to all of my codes, all right? So this is a Google Sheet that you should have access to, and it's going to be all of my codes, all right? So Rebet, Underdog, Better, Novig, Sleeper is right here, Chalkboard, Onyx Odds, and Kalsheet. So if you do not have one of these apps yet, doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you don't have Chalkboard yet. Maybe you don't have Kalsheet yet. Go into that sheet and follow these steps, right? 3 steps at max for most of these. You just sign up with a link, put $10 in, text me proof, and text me, the different app or whatever it is to get signed up for that. All right. And you will get 1 to 2 months free of the VIP for doing that for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment down below if there's any questions, and I'll try to go through and answer any questions. Also, leave a comment down below if there's any way that you guys think that you can optimize this even further, right? Are there specific formations or specific players that pair up nicely together, or is there specific apps that you guys use to maybe find this data or information faster? I'm always looking to get better, and I'm always looking to get the most clean, clear information out there as possible on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'll see you later.